Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is IAS Mains 2019 series Value Edition. This pertains to General Studies 2, International Relations, and in the International Relations, this is the first module. Friends, please don't forget, several students gave number of suggestions with regard to this Value Edition modules, and in fact, we recrafted these modules after considering number of opinions, or you can say number of suggestions from the students. Right friends, this is going to be our architecture. As already announced, we are going to give total 480 questions. Out of 480 questions, 240 will have model answers and remaining 240 will be for your practice. Total we are going to produce 24 modules which constitute 480 questions. Out of 480, we are going to give model answers for 240 questions and 240 questions we are leaving for your own practice. Friends, these modules are in addition to regular editorial modules. In the regular editorials, we are deliberating around 40 to 50 issues every month, at least 10 to 12 issues every week. So please don't miss editorial discussions. At the same time, please don't miss Niti Ayog Strategy for New India at 75. We already produced 14 modules, right? And this 480 questions, these are from the current affairs domain pertaining to GS1, GS2, GS3. Each module will have 20 questions, 10 with answers and 10 for your practice, right? And before going ahead, these are the questions asked from 2018 exam. Friends, if you look at 2018, 2017, 2016, one thing is clearly evident. Almost all the questions are pertaining to dynamic aspects, or you can say from the current affairs. There may be one question here and there pertaining to static aspects, but mostly the questions pertains to dynamic aspects, or you can say current affairs, right? Let us move ahead. The first question is, what do you understand by unbalanced multipolarity? Right friends, just have a glance at it and please read the question carefully. Unbalanced multipolarity, and explain with a specific reference to contemporary geopolitics, right? Very important. Explain the term with reference to contemporary geopolitics and how it plays out in the South Asian regional architecture, right? First part, what do you understand by unbalanced multipolarity? The definition is this: unbalanced multipolarity, and here if you see evolution of the global order, such type of schematic representation will fetch you more marks. And as the question is with regard to unbalanced multipolarity, please differentiate between balanced multipolarity and unbalanced multipolarity. The answer is given in simple words. I am not going into the detailed discussion of the answer because these are the things which we deliberated number of times, either one or the other editorials. Next issue is here, what are the implications of unbalanced multipolarity in the current geopolitical context? Here you see, explain the term with a specific reference to contemporary geopolitics. Here, what are its implications and how does it plays out in the South Asian regional architecture? That means because of unbalanced multipolarity, here the interests of India, interests of China are different, friends. So these are the India's interests in the South Asian region, these are China's interests, and these are at variance with each other. And what is the way forward? Friends, please write answer in this paradigm. Right friends, I would like to tell you few more questions in this perspective. A question may be asked with regard to what are the recent outreach programs in the Indian Ocean region. In the Indian Ocean region, what are India's recent outreach programs? India is reaching out to Maldives. India is reaching out to Sri Lanka. Friends, I am asking another question. The brief explanation which I gave with regard to this question is over. Just I am putting forth other questions for your conceptual understanding. What are the other types of questions which can be asked? One is, what are India's outreach programs in the Indian Ocean region? You can mention India's outreach programs with regard to Seychelles, Mauritius, as well as Maldives. Like that, you expand the answer, because a question is expected on India's recent outreach programs as far as Indian Ocean region is concerned, because Indian Ocean region is into the news because of China's forays, and because of that, what are India's actions? Such type of question may be asked, right? Let us look at the second one. There is a perception that free trade agreements actually increased trade deficit for India. Do you agree? Elaborate your answer with a specific example. What is free trade agreement? That is mentioned here. And just brief, India signed free trade agreements with several countries like Japan, South Korea, ASEAN, and increase in trade deficit. He asked, elaborate your answer with specific examples. Do you agree? Yes, trade deficit is increased, and you have to substantiate with figures, and after that you have to write another point also. But there are advantages. You cannot see it only from the prism of increasing trade deficit. There are other advantages also. So therefore you have to conclude that they have multiple benefits. You should not see it only from the prism of increasing trade deficit, right? And after that, the second part of the question, apprehensions for India in the RCEP deliberations, list out, and we discussed number of times in the editorials. This question consists of two parts, right? And another question may be asked, how RCEP will be beneficial when one looks at India's Act East policy. Very important. How RCEP is beneficial when one looks at India's Act East policy. Please practice answer for that question. Right, friends, this is the conclusion. Joining RCEP is in line with India's Act East policy to protect India's interests. RCEP is to be made truly comprehensive, and India should take steps to remove these apprehensions. Right, friends, RCEP, a question may be asked either in GS2, maybe in GS3 also. Look at the next one. In the contemporary world, digital transactions and data flows are threatening the conventional taxation system. Elaborate. When such elaborate is there, that means the statement is true. You have to support that statement with your viewpoint, or you can say you have to support the statement by elaborating the discussion, right? So here, traditional economy, how the taxation takes place in traditional economy, and how it is complex when one looks at online transactions. So like that, you have to expand the answer, right? Please go through it, and you have to use certain words. Intangible creation of wealth as far as data is concerned, right? And second, how do you visualize the future digital tax architecture? Already there are several initiatives taken by various countries, and what needs to be done? Already G20 is talking about digital tax architecture by 2020, and future digital tax architecture, how it should look like, right, friends? Go through the answer, right? We have given model answers. That's why I am not explaining much. List out fundamental differences between RCEP and CPTPP. CPTPP means Trans-Pacific Partnership minus USA. And here you can develop the answer on these lines: number of countries, location, tariff concessions, then significance of CPTPP and RECP, then approach. There are fundamental differences in the approaches. Finally, you can conclude, right? This question is with 150 words, right? Let us look on to the next question. It is almost a decade for Arab Spring. The anger of the masses is against long-standing authoritarian regimes. Examine critically how far this heralded democratic governance in various countries. Probably this may come in GS1 also, please don't forget. And friends, Arab Spring, that is the anger against authoritarianism or autocratism, and it is expected to herald democratic government, but it has not happened. And 8 to 9 years after Arab Spring, what is the present situation? Civil war in two countries, governments toppled, and of course the chaos are still continuing in Libya, then minor protests in some countries. Again, Sudan is now into problems. Egypt, military taken over after the toppling of the incumbent regime. So therefore, democratic transition has not heralded except Tunisia. You can cite the example of Tunisia, and you can also quote what are the reasons for failure of democratic transition in other countries. What is the way forward? Right, friends? These are the important issues. Please don't forget. Look at the next question. Afghanistan peace process. On Afghanistan peace process, different types of questions can be asked. Friends, this is the question what we have asked. Primarily due to the conflicting interests of various stakeholders, the Afghanistan peace process is becoming quite complex, right? You have to mention, because this is a straightforward question. The Afghanistan peace process is becoming quite complex, primarily due to the conflicting interests of various stakeholders. Discuss. Friends, who are the stakeholders and what are their conflicting interests? Straight away the answer can be given, right? And this is about conflicting interests, and 2-3 more questions may be asked on Afghanistan. How stability of Afghanistan is paramount for the stability of the region. Then second question is, why India is insisting on Afghan-led, Afghan-owned and Afghan-controlled transition process in Afghanistan? What are the reasons? So friends, please be ready with answers for such type of questions also. Right, friends? Look at the next one. Globally, there is a glut in food grains production in recent times and a subsequent fall in the food grain prices. But people affected by hunger increased. How do you explain this paradox? Friends, as per UN report, here the undernourished human beings increased from 777 million to 815 million. And what are the factors? Friends, these are the factors. Just expand them. Global conflicts, right? Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Islamic State, Syria, Yemen. You can expand this. Then climate change, drought, famine in several regions, political crisis, then population growth, then inward looking and protectionism. In recent times, countries are becoming inward looking, right? And they are employing protectionist tendencies. Then issues with countries' economies, right? So this is the conclusion. This is more than enough. Then Mission Shakti can be viewed as an intention, probably. This question may come in GS3 also, right? Mission Shakti can be viewed as an intention for India to enter into arms race in outer space. Do you agree? Certainly you should not agree. So the statement has no substance. World says two things. One is it will lead to arms race. Second is it may lead to space debris. Friends, both are wrong. Space debris, it may not result in space debris because it is carried out in the low Earth orbit. And second point is, it is in fact safeguard national interest. This is Indian government statement. So therefore, if you look at Indian government's statement, then absolutely Mission Shakti cannot be viewed as an intention for India to enter into arms race, right? Then examine the present international treaties, if any, to prevent weaponization of outer space. This is the second part of the question. Please list out these things, right? Starting from 1967 Outer Space Treaty, and what is the conclusion, right? Why Mission Shakti was launched? What is the conclusion? Then unilateral decisions with the scant respect for multilateral treaties by global powers like China, USA are quite evident, right? Examine the efficacy of United Nations architecture to resist such unilateral decisions. Friends, China and USA, in fact, both the countries actions are threatening the rule-based international order? First, give some examples how the actions of China and USA are threatening rule-based international order. After that, why United Nations is in fact designed and how United Nations architecture is devised and what is its inefficiency, why it is not able to prevent such unilateral decisions, and what is the need of the hour. Friends, this type of question is expected because of the failure of United Nations. Now several countries are facing problems, and for what UN is intended and why it is not able to do its intended purpose. Right. Next question, what do you understand by confidence building measures? Quite often you come across India and Pakistan confidence building measures, right? And how are they helpful in resolving the historical rivalry between India and Pakistan? Friends, this question, please go through it. Confidence building measures, what is the meaning, right? Then confidence building measures can be in military sphere, socio-economic sphere, political sphere, and to ensure everlasting peace, it involves conflict avoidance, confidence building, strengthening and sustaining peace, and confidence building measures include number of ways like notifications, then communications like hotlines, declarations like Tashkent declarations or Shimla Accords, then border security measures like that. You just list out what are the confidence building measures, but what are the shortcomings of this confidence building measures in ensuring everlasting peace and what needs to be done, what is the way forward, right? So please look into this, right friends. We discussed briefly 10 questions. So like that we are going to give model answers for 240 questions, and at the same time we are going to give 240 questions for your perusal, and please develop your own answers, right friends. So 10 questions for your practice. Just have a glance at these questions, and these are very important. India-Pakistan relations are threatening SAARC, but they are together in Shanghai Cooperation Organization. How do you explain this situation? Then due to the forays of China in Indian Ocean region, India embarked on massive outreach programs towards the littoral states of IOR. Then India views Indian Ocean region as its backyard. China contradicts, right? Like that. We have given 10 questions. Please develop your own answers. And this is about Indo-Pacific construct, how Sagar can be dovetailed into Indo-Pacific construct, right? So friends, these are 10 questions in fact are for your practice, and in the next module we are going to discuss with model answers, right? So in the next module we are going to discuss these 10 questions starting from 21 right up to 30. So please go through these questions 21 to 30. We are going to deliberate with the model answers in the next session, and for the questions 11 to 20 develop your own answers. We are not going to give answers for the questions 11 to 20, but this 21 to 30 we are going to deliberate with model answers in the next module, right? And next module will be next week only, because this weekend we will be busy with the economic survey and union budget. So this weekend we will be quite busy with economic survey and union budget. So next week we are going to look at 3 modules at least of Mains 2019 perspective. Overall we will present 24 modules. Next week we are trying 3 modules, 1 from international relations, 2 from society, right friends? With this let us conclude this module. Have a nice day. Thank you.